Welcome back to Dragon Army Books. My name is Dustin, and this is another wrap-up video, this time for the month of August. Wrap-up videos are where I do quick little mini reviews on the books that I read in any given month. As I said, this one was for August, and I do have to specify because it's mid-September, so you might not be able to tell which is which, what videos are for what month. But by the title of this video, and by me saying August now for probably the third time, you should know by now what month that we're talking about here. I didn't read a ton. It's been a busy month, as you could guess, but I did get some good ones in. And so you can see all of those books visually pop up around me right now. And if you'd like to jump to any particular book and hear my quick mini review on that book, then you can look in the timestamp down below. First, I began a brand new series this last month called Cradle by Will White, and the first book was called Unsouled. It's about a young 15-year-old boy named Wei-Shi Linden, and he is unsouled. He's one of the rare individuals that has no affinity for magic whatsoever, and so he's kind of an outcast in his community. But Linden is not content with being an outcast, and he's not content with having no magical ability, so he is going to use all of his craftiness to devise ways to be able to rise in ranks and in power to accomplish the things that he wants to accomplish. It is there's a subgenre for this in fantasy that people talk about because it's all centered around like leveling systems. It's like very video game-esque, RPG-esque, and so it really speaks to me. It's all about like increasing power levels. If you know the subgenre I'm talking about, drop it in the comments down below. I think something lit, fantasy lit. Here's the thing, I don't know because I think this is my first book or first series in this subgenre, and I'm really loving it. I get how it's not going to be everybody's favorite, and I get how it could grow old fairly quickly, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'm a few books into the series, and I'll talk about a few more of them in this month's review, but I think there's like 10 books out in the Cradle series so far, and I'm far from being done with them. It's very enjoyable so far, and I've heard that it only gets better, so I'm looking forward to more of Linden's story the more that I read. The next book is the second book in the Cradle series, and it's called Soulsmith, and I just remembered, lit RPG, I believe is what the subgenre is. So thank you for those that commented down below. Somehow it worked through the system and spoke to me. Lit RPG, and literary RPG? Hey, listen, I don't care what it means or what it stands for or what the rules are. I'm enjoying it so far. Soulsmith picks up just mere seconds after Unsouled concludes, and it takes Linden, our main character, outside of the safety of the Sacred Valley into the wider world, begins to do a little bit of world building there, and introduces more fully a few more characters that are going to be with Linden for some time. Yeren is this brooding emo chick with a power level greater than Linden's, and then even like at some point in this book, I don't even recall, it's been a few weeks, Ethan was introduced, who is even a higher power level, much higher power level than even Yeren. And so those two characters were somewhat interesting. And something that I also really enjoy about this series is that there is this weird, unique, mysterious blend of not only fantasy, although it's primarily fantasy, and sci-fi. I know that those two genres get blended a lot, but not in a way that is so they're so separate, these worlds. It's very, very fantasy, and then you've got this one character from this one point of view that rarely interacts with these other characters, but shows up from time to time, kind of observing from afar, that in a very, very sci-fi-esque kind of genre and outlook. And I think that's super intriguing. I'm super excited to see more of how those two diverse worlds collide here in the Cradle series. I liked this book not as much as the first one, actually, but again, I said that I've heard the series only gets better. I've heard that after the first 3, it really takes off. Speaking of, the third book in the Cradle series is called Blackflame, and this is really a super power leveling book in the sense of really the majority of the book is Linden and Yeren going through these trials in order to achieve a new power level each, you know, one for each of them. And so you meet a few new characters. The thing that kind of really is highlighted in this particular book are the villains. Now, one of them had shown up previously. He is this powerful gold, I believe, is kind of his level ranking, and he's got a red kind of like bandage wrapped around his head, and a scarred past. He's got a lust for power, just like our main character Lyndon has a lust for power, and they have a battle set a year from now. And so they're both trying to like level up and do what it takes to get to the next power level so that they can completely demolish the opponent. I think that I liked this book better than the second book, a little bit less than the first book. I like them all. Nothing has completely captured me yet, or enraptured me yet, I say on this channel sometimes. Nothing has completely sold me on this series yet, but I'm enjoying it, and I really fully believe that I'm going to be completely in this. I enjoy it. I like the progression systems. I just want some more major plot point development things to happen, or some more meaningful character moments to really cause me to link up with this story. But again, I think that I'm very close to getting those. And then I revisited Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game. I am going through the Ender Saga from the Formic Wars all the way to the traditional Ender novel and the Ender Shadow novel and their respective series. Again, in preparation for the final book that is linking the two series and concluding the saga that's supposed to come out at the end of this year. So I finally got back to the core novel, the one that began it all, Ender's Game, and it is as fantastic as I remember. I mean, really, I just read this every few years anyway, so it's not like I've got much distance between this reading and the last. I absolutely love it. I think it's such a fantastic book. The thing that caught me this time is that it's a very it's not a fluffy novel. There's not just a lot of like descriptions of anything in there. It's just like this march forward to the bitter end, and I respect that. I like that. It's caused me to really like that in literature, since this was one of my first forays into reading and into the genre of sci-fi fantasy. But it was noticeable this time that there's not a lot of coloring in. It's kind of like, here's the stencil. The stencil is wonderful. Check it out. But you're gonna have to do a lot of the imagining in your head. Again, it worked for me, but I would understand that being a fair criticism for other people. I love Ender's Game. It will always have a special place in my heart. 5 stars for sure. And I did a full kind of gushing review on it just recently. You can click the link in the annotation if you want to see that full review. And then I listened to Lux. Now, I say listened to because it is an audiobook. It's exclusively an audiobook, an Audible original, in fact, by Brandon Sanderson, and it is called A Texas Reckoner's Novel. And so there's nothing to read yet. You can only listen, and it was narrated extremely well, exceptionally well. And that's I'm from Texas, and it's a Texas Reckoner's novel where it really highlights characters and locations out of Texas. And so that's the cool part of it. But man, I just don't love most of Sanderson's, or really all of Sanderson's young adult YA stuff. It just doesn't work for me. I haven't liked it in his sci-fi series or here in this kind of fantasy series, where it's a cool idea, where epics, these super powered humans, all turn bad, and these normal humans have to rebel and gather together to try to overthrow these epics, these super empowered humans. And so I love the premise, and some of the characters here are good. It's just a long book for no reason. In fact, I honestly thought that we're moving towards the climactic moment, honestly, about 25% of the way through. And then I was confident at about 50% of the way through that we were there at the end, and there was still so much left to go. It's okay. It's not exceptional. You can listen to this as your first Reckoner's novel. You might miss a few of like the nods or Easter eggs, but you're not going to miss anything too terribly important. I did a full review on the Lux audio experience. You can click the link in the annotation if you want to check that out. And then we'll end with 2 graphic novels. One is the continuation of Usagi Yojimbo. This was volume 7 with Jin's story, and it wasn't that good. it's just, I like when our graphic novels tell a story from beginning to end, and it doesn't have to. There can be a few like short stories here and there, but this one was pretty much all kind of short stories, and so there's not much like investment from me, the reader, there. It was cool to see a few returns from some key characters that popped up in a few other stories throughout the narrative so far. The artwork continues to be absolutely excellent. There is no coloring, it's just the pencil illustrations, but they are exquisite. And I love the characterizations and the world building. This one in particular just didn't do it for me, but there are tons and tons and tons of volumes and stories, so it's every once in a while it's just not gonna work, and that's fine. And then we ended the month with a graphic novel that I just picked up randomly in the library, and it actually blew me away. So I've read the 1985 dystopian novel by Margaret Atwood called The Handmaid's Tale, but it's been remade into a Hulu original, which the first season, excuse me, was good. I didn't watch any more, but I enjoyed the first season. And then the graphic novel is relatively new, and the artwork is absolutely stunning. Renee Nault did the adaptation and the illustrations, both which blew me away. The adaptations are hard to do. You're going to miss some key pertinent information, and you're going to miss some of the heart of the story. Maybe it was because I am so familiar with the story already, but I think mainly it's because of Nault's interpretation and adaptation that she captured the key moments and included that in the story, so that through this graphic novel you can know enough of the story to really feel invested. And then the illustrations, they are not the best illustrations in the world, but for what she's trying to accomplish, they are remarkable. And what she manages to do with color and to create the atmospheres and feeling of like loneliness or depression or anxiety, and then with the diverse colors of, you know, red symbolizing certain things, and then the light blue symbolizing, and then the blacks and the white. She did phenomenal here. In fact, I've done a video, either released it or about to release it, talking about, hey, this is cool, the illustrations of the Handmaid's Tale, the graphic novel, because it absolutely blew me away. I actually gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's that good. Those are the books that I read this month in August. I did a video a little while ago saying that I'm just not feeling anything anymore, and I'm just kind of going to read the books that I've got set aside right now, but I'm not going to read anything too terribly new. Well, Cradle is a little bit different from that, but other than that, I'm kind of just trudging through. Still haven't found anything to like pump life back into my heart, my dead bones. So if you've got suggestions on incredible books that absolutely blew you away, please drop them in the comments down below. Still looking for one. And thank you as always for taking the time to watch and like this video. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, join the Dragon Army, and we'll see you in the next one.